Okay, so I think we'll get started. So thank you to everybody that's joined us today for our latest in the Talk to the Expert series of webinars here at Quantum. So we're delighted to have Petter Helge from Low Vision International and also his colleague Christopher. And today they're going to be presenting some of the powerful low vision solutions that they've got. So I'll just go through a few brief webinar housekeeping tips for those that might not have joined us before. We will mute everyone during the main presentation just to avoid background noise as we're recording it, but there will be time for questions at the end. If you want to send a question during the webinar, you can type in the chat box. So you can either get there by clicking on the chat bubble on your Zoom controls or using Alt and H. But when we've got questions, if you want to raise your hand, you can use Alt and Y, and we can then unmute you or select that option in the chat area. And if you do need to unmute yourself, you can press the space bar or Alt and M. And we are recording this, so we'll make it available on our YouTube channel and send a link around afterwards once it's ready. So without further ado, I will hand over to Peter and colleagues, and we're really delighted to have them here joining us all the way from Sweden. So Peter's the Marketing and Sales Manager at Low Vision International. And yeah, I'll let them show us the different solutions that they've got.
Okay, pleasure to be here. Thank you for letting us join this webinar. I'm Petter, Marketing and Sales Manager at LVI, and with me I also have Christopher, also working in our sales department with our international sales. And today we will present two of our products, two very versatile products that can be used in a lot of different situations, focusing on the educational area, focusing on the work area, but can of course also be used in a home situation. The first unit we will present is the Magnilink Tab, which is a very mobile device. It's a complete unit where you have the possibility of reading, of course, magnified reading with camera. You have the possibility of distance viewing. You have a complete computer possibility. It is based on the Microsoft Surface Pro. You also have the possibility of text-to-speech. So it's a real all-in-one solution, very compact. To set it up, you simply open up the unit, you attach the external camera, and you are up and running. The system contains three different cameras. You have the external camera, the camera that we recommend that you use for more or less all of the reading and so on you want to do. It's a high quality camera, very easy to work underneath the camera since there's a lot of space available. And this is also the camera that we use for distance. when looking at the teacher, for example, at the blackboard. You also have a built-in camera looking down at the table here, and you also have a face camera looking in front of you if you want to do some sort of video conferencing or something like that. I will move the unit a little bit closer here, since we will be focusing on the actual unit and the features in the software. Like mentioned, this is a Microsoft Surface Pro based unit, so you have a complete computer possibility as well. Now we are in our software where we use the cameras, where you do text to speech and so on. If you have seen this software before, you might notice that you can see a difference in the layout of the menus here. The version of the software we are now showing the unit with is a completely new version that will be released planned end of June. It looks a little bit different compared to the one we have today, and it also has some additional features. So if you don't recognize the buttons from before, that's the reason why. The update to the new software is free of charge. So in case you already have a Magnilink Tab, which is the name of the unit, then the update is free of charge. The unit can be controlled in many different ways. You have the buttons down here that you can use. You can also use gestures on the touch screen for almost all of the features. And if you connect a Bluetooth keyboard, you can also control the software with hotkeys, short commands from the keyboard. Starting from left to right, first button is to switch between the camera and the OCR picture. If you have made an OCR for text-to-speech, that's where you switch between them. Now we haven't made that, so we come back to that button later on. Second button is to switch, to toggle between the different cameras. The camera looking down at the table, the front camera, the face camera, and the external camera that we are using for most of our tasks. Like I said, most things can be controlled also by gestures. So instead of the button, I can swipe 4 fingers, and in this way toggle between the different camera pictures. Very fast, very easily done. Next button, to enlarge, to increase the magnification. Next one, to decrease the magnification. Same things can be done by gestures, by pinching on the touch screen. Then we have the OCR button. I will come back to that one. Next button, to take photographs and make video recordings. If you have a view of the blackboard, I want to take a photo. I hit this button and it opens up a few different options. Here I can take a photo. By default, it will be saved with today's date and time. You can, if you want to, name it to whatever. If you want to do this quicker, now I opened up the Save As menu here. If you want to do it quicker, you press with 2 fingers on the button. Then it automatically saves the image with today's date and time. Same thing if you want to do a video recording. Instead of hitting the camera button, I hit the video recording button. Now it says video recording started, and you have a small recording symbol lighting up showing that now I am actually doing a video recording with the unit. For example, a student in a classroom wants to make a recording of a presentation to be used later on. I stopped the video recording. Next button, different type of settings. Here you have the possibility of natural colors. You have the possibility of different high contrast colors, increase and decrease brightness. You also have the possibility of mirroring the image. I will enlarge this a bit. You can mirror the image if you have some reason have the camera pointing at your face, for example, then you want it to act like a mirror so that you can do makeup or trim your beard or anything like that. You also have the possibility of rotating the image. And what is that good for? That can be in a situation where you want to place the camera, for example, on the left-hand side of the unit. If we place the camera on this side, I want to look at the board, then of course the board is now upside down. Then I can rotate the picture so it easily can be used also on the left-hand side. Makes the unit very compact, very easy to place if you are in a lecture hall with very limited amount of space. Like mentioned, most commands or almost all commands can also be done by gestures. So rotating the picture can be done by just turning with the fingers. The different artificial colors, you have the buttons there, but you can also do it by 2 fingers going vertically. The contrast is changed by 2 fingers horizontally. And I can just go back by pressing 2 fingers to the natural colors. Last button, the settings. Also here, you can, when you are in the settings menu, magnifying everything to make it easier to change things. The about part, information about the system. The application part. Here you can decide, for example, the colors of both the menu, but also on the buttons appearing on the lower end. Now we have an orange color with a black text. Maybe I want to change this. I want to go white text, for example. Text is white. I want to go black instead. I hope I'm back there. I hope you all hear me now. In the camera view, you can remove the different artificial colors that you don't want, and you can deactivate any cameras you don't want active, that you don't want to toggle between. In the speech section, you decide which language, which voice to use for text-to-speech, volume, speed, and so on. Of course, you can also change volume and speed in the actual application when you are reading. Shortcuts, that's the different shortcuts that you do from a keyboard. If you have a Bluetooth keyboard connected, you can control all the different features with hotkeys, and here you can decide if you want to change any hotkeys. And in the gestures section, you see all the different sections, different gestures that are available, and you can also turn on or off any of those gestures. Some smaller children, for example, can find it sometimes annoying that every time they touches the screen, something happens, and then you can basically turn off some or all of the different gestures. For example, I have turned off the possibility of turning the autofocus on or off, because I always want the autofocus to be on, and to not by mistake turning it off, I have disabled that one. If I want it on, I just click it in again, or I click it out. We had some things that we did not use when I showed the different menus. For example, we didn't do the OCR button. The OCR button makes an OCR and starts to read, and it does it very quickly. If I press the OCR button, change voice.
Gives great opportunities. The Magnilink Tab is
some sort of bug in the new software. Don't know what happened there. What it does is, you have the image here. I have placed the document underneath the camera. When I hit the OCR button, or if I do a long press with my finger in the screen,
gives great opportunities. The Magnilink Tab is a complete and mobile tablet solution with high performance and user-friendly operation.
A very quick OCR starts to read immediately. You can, in this view, I'm showing the original picture and a rolling line. Here you can magnify both parts separately. This is one of the viewing modes. You can also show this as just a complete picture, as a column, as a rolling line, a word by word. And then we are back to our original one. So if I do, for example, just a rolling line.
Operation. Its space-saving design makes it ideal for use in different locations, perfect for people on the go. A complete solution is tablet solution based on a Microsoft Surface Pro with...
Here you can of course change the volume, you can change the speed, you can change the different artificial colors and so on as well. Here we have this button that we also didn't mention from the beginning, where you toggle between the live image and the OCR image. Also, a new feature in this software is a note-taking tool. When we open up this section here, we have the photos, we have the video recordings, but we also have a note-taking tool. If I press that one, it takes a picture and opens up that picture in our built-in new note taker. Here I can make notes. I can use, for example, a marker. Here I can also, of course, change the size, the colors, and so on. Ideal, for example, if you in school need to make some notes in a document, this one can then be saved. You can save this as an image, or you can save it as a PDF document. Save it with your notes, send it in to the teachers. For example, if you are doing some sort of exam or anything like that. For example, here, you might have a test in school with a lot of things you need to fill in. If I do that with a note taker, I can then write, for example, my name, now I made a little mistake here. I can remove that with a rubber gun. I also have the going back and going forward buttons. So in this way, you can easily fill in a form, save it, and send it in.
That's great.
Very flexible unit, plug and play, comes with the software installed, up and running in seconds, and you can do it all in one single unit. Like we said, it's a complete Windows computer, so it's a Windows 10 operating system and Microsoft Surface Pro, so you can run any sort of traditional software here. If you have software in work or in school, using different type of business software or different type of other software, assistive technology software, ZoomText, Supernova, and so on, it can be run on the unit. And you can easily use all those standard applications like browsing the internet or using your mail program and so on. Yeah, I think that was basically the presentation of the Magnilink Tab. Of course, any questions are welcome now or after we make the presentation of the next product. Then you will also see a comparison between the two different products, and you will be able to see what might fit your situation the best.
Yeah. Thanks, Petter. That's great. So some really great features in there. So if anyone's got any questions, do pop them in the chat or raise your hand and we can do those.
The second unit we want to show you is the Magnilink S. Also a very portable device. This one focusing even more on flexibility than the Magnilink Tab. The Magnilink Tab, there you have the Surface Pro, and you have the limitation of using that screen size, that format. With the Magnilink S, you have a unit that you can connect to a PC computer, a Windows-based computer. You can connect it to a Macintosh. You can connect it to a Chromebook computer, or you can connect it directly to a monitor without using a computer. Very easy to fold up, and you place it next to your computer. You connect it to the computer with one single cable, and it uses power from the computer, so there is no battery or anything that you need to charge. So basically one cable is all it takes. Same thing here. You have the possibility of distance viewing. And you also have the possibility of using it for reading or any other type of tasks you want to do underneath the camera. Both with the tab and with the Magnilink S, you have a quite generous space underneath the camera, which makes it easy if you want to, for example, use papers. If you have a binder, if you need to do writing and handcrafting, filling in forms and so on. If you're using it in a, for example, a class in technology or mechanics or anything like that, you can place objects underneath the camera and easily study, for example, an object, since you have a very generous space underneath the camera. I'm using this now on a Windows-based computer. As you can see here, you have a toolbar with different symbols. This toolbar can be removed. It can be limited in the amount of buttons you want there. Originally, when this unit came out on the market with the previous software version, there was no menu because most people used software with hotkeys, controlling it directly from the keyboard. But the menu up here is very good, for example, for teachers, for people not using the software all the time. A person using the software every day, they easily use all the short commands. I think that is the fastest and easiest way of controlling the unit. But for a special teacher, for example, only meeting this child every now and then the menus are very helpful. You can control the unit that way, and you also see what it is. If I hold the mouse pointer here, it will say color. So I can control it in this way. I can use the mouse pointer, for example, to increase the magnification, or I can use the arrow keys on the keyboard to do the same thing. I can change between different artificial color combinations by the menus, or I can do the same thing by using the F2 button on the keyboard. If I want to hide the menu away, it's easily done by a keystroke Control H or hide. Then I have the full camera picture instead. That is actually the same also in the Magnilink Tab that we demonstrated before. Also there, all the buttons can be hidden away, so you don't take up space in the image with the buttons. Same features, more or less. You have the color combinations. You have the possibility of increasing, decreasing the contrast, the brightness. You have the possibility of curtains and guiding lines in different combinations. You also have a light possibility on the actual unit. There is a small light sitting here. If you are in a dark room, you can use that to give a better picture quality. That can be dimmed or turned off. If you want to take a picture, same thing, you have the possibility of using the menu. For example, I'm looking at the blackboard. I have a calculation that I want to save it. I want to be able to see this before. I didn't have the time to write everything down when the teacher was doing the presentation. Then I can easily just take a picture with the mouse pointer here, or by using the keystroke F5. Same thing here. You have the possibility of changing names and so on. If you do nothing, it will be today's date and time. that will be the name of that file. You can then from the software open up any of those pictures you have taken before. You can also here do a video recording of a presentation. If I make a recording, it will record both sound and image if you want it to. You can limit it, the possible length of the video recording, to avoid the risk of filling up your hard drive. Same sort of features with the possibility of rotating the image or mirroring the image. For example, if I use the camera for doing makeup. In the Magnilink Tab, the unit we showed before, there you had built-in TTS originally. In the Magnilink S software, the TTS feature is an add-on. Feature-wise, is the same thing. I can do it with the buttons. I can press OCR here in the menu.
It gives great opportunities. The Magnilink Tab is a complete and mobile tablet solution with high performance and user-friendly operation. Its space-saving design makes it ideal for use in different locations.
Same thing here, very quick. The possibility of using different type of viewing modes. Picture and word we started with. Picture and a rolling line. Just the original picture with a marker following the word. A column. Here you can also then change the different sizes and so on. A rolling line, word by word, and we are back where we started with the picture and the word. You can save this one to use later on. If you have taken a lot of OCR images, you want to use them later on when you do your homework, you can save this as a zip file where you contain both pictures and the OCR information, or you can save it as a Word file if you want to do editing and so on in this OCR image. You can save it as a PDF file or a text file, for example. In this software, you also have some additional features. For example, you can directly in the software use a split screen. Now I have the image from the camera on the top part. I have my computer on the bottom part. That is made by a keystroke, F8. So I can, for example, decide to have it here on the left side only. Yeah. If I do like this, if I have a file, I can actually drag that into the software as well to make an OCR. Mm-hmm. So if I have, for example, here a PDF that I drag into the software, I can use that and have it OCR'd. So as soon as I drag in the PDF, it will make an OCR of that. Now you see that I had a folder that I actually dragged and dropped into here. It's a folder of the Magnilink Tab, a PDF. It has a lot of pages, and all the pages appear up here. So it's not only OCR on the image you take from the camera, you can also do OCR, for example, from a PDF that you drag and drop into the software. Two different products with sort of the same possibilities regarding features. The decision for which product that fits you the best is probably how you intend to use it. If you are into using a laptop computer, maybe you already have a laptop computer, you might need a slightly bigger screen. This is a quite small laptop, but maybe you are using a laptop with a larger screen. Then, of course, that Magnilink S will fit you very, very well. If you want to use a tablet, if you want something that is plug and play from the beginning, then the Magnilink Tab is probably the right choice for you. There you are up and running immediately. You have it all in one, but you are limited to the 12-inch screen on the Microsoft Surface Pro. So depending on situation, any of those products could fit you very, very well.
Thanks, Petter. We have had a few questions already. So somebody's asked, what is the stability of the unit like? They've given some examples of other devices that they've used where if the student's desk is bumped, then the image goes blurry for a while. So maybe you can show us what happens if...
Yeah, it's, of course, you always have the back draw of a unit that is very small and light. A unit like the Magnilink S that is very small, very easy to move around, low weight, that of course has the back draw that you get some instability compared to a desktop CCTV with a weight of 15 kilos that sits on the desk, very solid, very stable. Here you have a weight of less than 2 kilos, it's 1.9, which makes it a little bit more sensitive for vibrations, of course. In general, you can say that the larger magnification, the more problems, of course, with vibrations. If you enlarge a lot, even a small movement in the camera will make a big movement on the screen. I wouldn't say that it's a big issue, but of course you do have people saying that, yes, when I'm using it, for example, looking at the blackboard, I use a high magnification and someone hits the table, then you will have vibrations. Important in this case to have a stable table. It will never get better than the circumstances around it. If you're sitting on a table that is very unstable and shaky and so on, then you don't have the best circumstances to make it work the best. But, yeah, it's always when we make the designs, it's always the combination of getting the products as small and lightweight as possible without giving up too much of the stability. But it is a win or lose situation. The lighter you make it, the more problems you might face with stability. they are very solidly built. Even if the actual covering here is in plastic, it is all metal inside. It's actually the same if we look at the Magnilink Tab. The construction of the Magnilink Tab is in metal, which means that you have a very stable stand. I mean, you can do this more or less extreme positions of the screen, and it is no issue. So despite that it's very low weight, it is very solid. It's aluminum to make it lightweight, but still very sturdy. And this is also, since this is a mobile device, this is a device that you carry around in the school environment. You want, in this case, the Surface Pro to be very well protected. So when you carry this around, it is all metal that surrounds the unit. So the Surface Pro is very well protected, and the actual unit is well protected. Even if you bump into something, this is built to last.
Yeah. It's very, very nice casing. Another question is, can you confirm that there is a default save option for each feature of the 2 units rather than using the default Windows File Explorer? I don't, that was David. Did you mean for saving the files or the actual features? I don't know. I can unmute you, David, if you.
Okay, thanks for that, Rebecca. Now, I was talking about any of the options because you were saving a number of different documents as you were going through the demonstrations with both of them. The default seemed to be it comes up with the Windows Explorer folder view, but you also mentioned there is a default. I just want to know if that default save option is there for every option for saving things.
Yeah, when you do a saving, it is default by today's date and time. So if you do a saving, you don't need to add a name or anything. So in most cases, if you want to take just an image, for example, if we take on the Magnilink Tab, as I showed, you can press by 2 fingers, then you automatically save the image, the picture, without doing anything. If you press with 1 finger, it will open up the Windows Explorer saving window. The name is pre-filled, the format is pre-filled, and you can just hit enter if you don't want to change anything. If you want to enter another name, Mrs. Brown's math class, then you can do that before hitting enter and saving the image.
Oh, great, thanks. Yeah, that was what they're asking. And also, Jeff's asked, with updating the Tab software, would that just be an automatic or update over the internet for customers, or how if they're existing customers? Or
yeah, it's you will have to send in a request to LVI that you want to update. Then you will receive free of charge a new license key that you need to use to activating the new software. The reason why we didn't want this to be an automatic update that just happened was that there is quite some new features in the software, and also the design of the buttons looks slightly different. So we didn't want people to suddenly wake up on Monday morning and their reading system looking completely different with different features than before. So therefore we said that let's do it like that you have to request the code. You download the software. If you download the new software, it will automatically load that software. All you have to do is enter this license code, and you're up and running. So it's not automatic, but it will not be very difficult.
Okay, thanks for that. So yeah, we can see for our existing customers here that. So one thing I might get you to mention, Peter, is the fact that with the, I know you have to order them separately, the fact that there are different language options for the text-to-speech.
Yeah, if we look at the Microsoft, at the Magnilink Tab, we are using the Surface Pro. There we are using the voices available from Microsoft.
Okay.
So any voices available from Microsoft can be used, and they are there free of charge.
Okay.
With the Magnilink S, there you order the text-to-speech as an add-on, and by default you get your local languages.
Yeah.
In this case, you get Australian English with the unit. There you can also add on purchase as an extra add-on other different languages. German, Spanish, Arabic, yeah, you have a bunch of different languages available.
Yeah, I think yours is the only one that has Arabic of the things that we have. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, and there with the Magnilink S, if you install a lot of different languages on the Magnilink S, there you also have the possibility of using automatic language detection. So if this person plays an Arabic document underneath the unit, it will read that in Arabic. If you place an English document underneath the Magnilink S, it will read that document in English.
Well, that's great. So, oh, that's wonderful. Now they're both really powerful devices. So with all the different features. So, oh, with the Magnilink Tab as well, I've not played a lot with that, but with the OCR, can you save the documents on that one as well?
You can save the documents on that one as well. So that is pretty good if you want to. If you do OCRs and then you want to use that later on, maybe you have a long way sitting on the bus or a train, going home from work or going home from school, and then you can listen to those documents during that time, for example. And it's the same thing with all those images you take from, for example, from a classroom. That is also very helpful. We see that quite sometimes that some students have some difficulties keeping up the pace in the classroom. So when a teacher is making, for example, a lot of calculations during math or doing some other sort of presentations, that they are not able perhaps to follow the speed and take notes of everything, then it really facilitates to be able to either take a couple of snapshots during the lesson with the most important thing, or maybe do a video recording if you have a part of the presentation that is really, really important. And in that way, they have the possibility to review that information later on at home or when traveling from school or whatever.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So thank you so much, both of you. So just as a last thing, I'll just put up our contact details. So we do have the option to demonstrate the units to you. So just give us a call here at Quantum 1300 883 853 or email us info@quantumrlv.com.au, or there's more information on our website as well, quantumrlv.com.au, and we can let you have a demonstration or provide some more information. So thank you so much, and I think if there's I can't see any other questions there, so we might leave it at that and let you guys get on with your day over there in Sweden. So
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much. So enjoy.
Thanks, Petter. Thank you.
Thank you.